If you think about money like water, you can imagine money that is filled up in a barrel. This is a rain barrel, right? And that is filled with water. And you can also imagine money to be like the water inside a hose. And those are different, right? And the amount of water is very different. Like if these were both full, there is way more water in the barrel than the hose, right? You could fill this hose up and dump it into this barrel many, many times before you would actually be able to fill it. But if this hose were hooked up to the spigot and you turned it on, it is connected to a pipe that is eventually connected to the Great Lakes. And it has an almost inexhaustible water supply that is connected to this hose. So the reality is when we think about that, if we believe our finances are like water in this barrel, then no matter how big your barrel is, it is gonna seem small and limited and scarce. Because most of us spend our lives saying, how big of a barrel can I get and can I fill it up? The problem with that is it's always gonna seem like it's not enough. Because no matter how big the barrel is, every time you take one cup out of it, you have one less. And you're saying, every time I'm generous, every time I give, every time I do something, I have less than I did before. It's a zero-sum game. But if we believe that our finances are more like water in a hose, then it doesn't matter ever how small the hose is, does it? Does it matter if the hose is 3 feet or 30 feet? Not really, because the value of the hose is being connected to the pipe. And when we open up the pipe and we run all the water out of the hose, there's more water that comes and fills it. Those are two radically different ways to think about finances. And here's the thing, a lot can seem like a little when it's all you have. And a little can seem like a lot when it's connected to a source. These are very different. The Bible encourages us to see this. In fact, God specifically addresses it in Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Speaking to the nation of Israel, he says this. He says, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, he says, the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will be not enough room to store it. What is he saying? He's talking to the nation of Israel who is struggling to financially bring an offering to him. And he says, listen, bring the whole tithe. This is what that means. Tithe means tenth. The custom for God's people from the very beginning of time until now is to set aside the first 10% of what we earn and the best 10% of what we earn. Back in the day, if you had cattle, you would take the best 10% of your cattle. If you grew crops, it would be the best 10% and the first 10% of your crops. And the other 90, you figure out your wealth and you figure out what you're doing with it. And you take the entire tithe and bring it. And he says, in this, he says, bring the whole tithe, meaning they had not been doing that. He said, don't short me. Bring the whole thing into the storehouse, my temple, basically, that there would be food in my house. And then he says, test me. This is the only place in the Bible where God says we can test him. It's the only issue that he says, try me out in this. Take a shot on it. And he says, see if you can test me in it, that if I won't turn on a faucet and bless you to where basically you're better off than you were before. See if I can't do it. See if I can't bless the 90 in a way that's better than the 100. Does he say that he's gonna have an ever-increasing size rain barrel for you to where you're massively wealthy? He does not. God's not thinking in terms of barrels at all. He's thinking in terms of the hose. He's saying if you never turn on the faucet and you never pour out any water, you have no more room to get anything else. But if you're willing to trust me, and you're willing to be generous in the way I am generous, there'll be water that comes behind it. And you'll have what you need. Because that's how I work, and that's what I do.